Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to talk about something here that I think would be a really fun thing to see at some point in the future, and that is Rick Grimes meeting Glenn's son, Hershel. And I think honestly, if we could get some sort of story here or just like something, in like the next series, I don't think it would happen in Dead City, but if there could be a story here, I think it would be really incredible. And so I want to give some thoughts on like how this could actually happen here and, is it actually possible? So yeah, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Now, this is something that I think a lot of people haven't really been focusing on too much because I think that Dead City's timeline obviously is something that a lot of people will bring up quite a bit with the show because it's set so far into the future, and the Ones Who Live and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon are definitely, closer in timeline. And when you look at, those shows' timelines, they're pretty much, a month or two apart. I guess The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon's a little bit further along now, right? Like in season 4, it might be a year later or a couple of months later, or it's something like that, right? But with The Walking Dead Dead City, it's a couple of years later. And so there's a lot of questions of like, does Maggie even know that Rick's back yet? The way that I've always kind of assumed all of this here is that she doesn't know at all because Maggie basically left at some point, right? Like she left the hilltop pretty much right after. And it's not like, there's like cell phones and able to like communicate and stuff like that. I think that she's just been on her own pretty much the entire time. And that's pretty much what the story is here. Like, I don't think there's been a lot of thought into a lot of that there. And also, like for Maggie to find out that Rick is alive and all of that, like that's a reaction that you want to see, right? Like we haven't seen it yet. So why have that happen off screen? That'd be kind of insane, right? So I think that obviously that's one of the first things that we're likely going to eventually see. I don't know if it's going to happen in Dead City or if it's going to happen in like the next series, but I think eventually we will see a scene like that. And so Rick Grimes will eventually meet Glenn's son, right? Unless Hershel dies at some point, but I don't see Hershel dying at any point in the next, really at all, honestly. I think that character's probably going to survive for the remainder of the series unless there's like a Next Generation show and then he dies a couple of seasons in, but I don't really see that. I think that this is probably, one of the big reasons to have the characters reunite overall. I think Rick's reaction to seeing Hershel for the first time would be absolutely insane because, obviously Rick and Glenn go all the way back to the beginning. And if it wasn't for Glenn, Rick wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. And so there hasn't been a lot of just like, I guess nods to the past in that sense there. I think ever since Rick left, a lot of his story has just been about his family. And I think that's the one thing that I will say for sure, that I was disappointed with The Ones Who Live was that it really was just about Rick and his family. I think that it makes sense for what that story was, though. It's just, going forward, I want more of the connections with Rick and like the other characters and like everything else, right? Like everything else that's happened on The Walking Dead and like, Rick and Maggie and like Glenn and Hershel, just that whole other side to his life and everything. I want more stories told there. And, for Rick, like I can just picture how the scene would play out, if like, I don't know what the story would be, it would be the current, obviously, actor who plays Hershel most likely. And like Rick, being there, maybe he sees Hershel and like, honestly, maybe it's literally a thing where like maybe they're at the hilltop or maybe it's Alexandria because I don't know what the state of the hilltop is like right now, but maybe they're in Alexandria, the Commonwealth or some random place and Maggie's there and Maggie has like this reaction to seeing Rick, like, I can't believe you're here kind of thing. Like I thought you were gone, right? And I think it would be really shocking. And then Rick looks and sees Hershel and it's just like, wow. I can't believe that, right? Like that's Glenn's son right there. And I think it would just be, it'd be so emotional. It really would be like, it would be something so shocking. That's one of the things that I've just always loved about The Walking Dead is just the characters' reactions to stuff and just like waiting for moments like that. And, what's more important than that, I would say, is just like the characters having stories together and everything. So it would be really exciting to see that reaction there and to see how Rick would react to Hershel and then just like what their story could be like after that. I think that there could be a lot there that they could actually do there. And that's the one thing that I will say though, is like, how much does Hershel even know about Rick? Because, if you really look back at like what Hershel even knows about him, I mean, I know that Rick and Hershel, I guess, had a scene in like season 9 very early on, right? But like Hershel was a year old, a year and a half old or something like that, right? Like he was very, very young. And so he doesn't remember Rick. And at that point, Rick basically died, right? Like for all that Maggie knows, like Rick is dead at that point. And so, how much does he really know about Rick? I'm sure Maggie has talked about him, but is she going to talk about him like he's like this legendary person? No, obviously not. Just like somebody that, helped us along the way and that died a long time ago kind of thing. And, she's mostly going to be talking about her family and Glenn. And so from Hershel's point of view, he doesn't really know anything about Rick, right? Like it would be one of those things where I think his reaction isn't going to be anything too insane, more just like, okay, so like this guy that my mom thought was gone is still alive. And I guess he knew my father kind of thing. Like, I don't think it would be anything too special from Hershel's point of view, which is something I think they should focus on a lot. I think, like, be honest with that, I guess relationship there. Like Hershel isn't going to really know Rick too much, I think if he has questions about Glenn and like will ask him about stuff, that's also something you can definitely do. It would be really nice, like if he's just like, did you know my father? Or like what do you remember about him? And Rick saying, a couple of things about Glenn, about like Beth as well. And like, his grandfather Hershel. Like there's so many things that Rick could say that I just think that scene would just, it would be absolutely incredible. I think that it's honestly something that would be probably one of the best scenes of all time. Like that's the one thing that with The Walking Dead right now, because you have this next generation that is coming up right now, like you have to focus on scenes like this. Like this is exactly what you want. You want the next generation to question things of the past, question things that we know as, viewers of this whole franchise for many, many years now, almost 15 years, and to actually like, to see what they say about all of it. And we remember it like it's been that long ago, right? So it would just be really incredible. It would be just something that it's so rewarding, and that's the thing. That's the whole thing about like long-term storytelling as well. Eventually you get to a point where you're able to do things like that, where people that have invested the amount of time, who have been there the entire time, will see things like that. And it's just like amazing storytelling, right? And I think The Walking Dead has just been ignoring a lot of that. And I don't know if it's because they don't want to be too on the nose with everything, but honestly, like, I think not doing it is the worst thing to do. Like, you don't have to do it all the time, but having scenes like that, I think is incredible. Like the Walking Dead comics did stuff like that all the time. I think Robert Kirkman's a really amazing writer, and the Walking Dead TV show needs to do a lot more of that. Like that is stuff you would see in the comics for sure. And yeah, we just haven't really been seeing that, just in general with the shows. And so it is hilarious that Hershel might not care that much, right? Like I know that Maggie's probably told him some stuff overall, but like, again, for all she knows, like Rick is dead and they've been surviving and just focusing on surviving like this entire time. And if she's going to mention anyone, it's Glenn, really, right? Like, it's not going to be something that comes up quite a bit. So I think it would be really cool to actually get a scene like this. I think to see Rick and Hershel actually, I guess, reunite in a sense, I think would be really awesome. I think that just, to have an actual official meeting, because I mean, Hershel before was, he was a baby, right? Like he's not going to remember anything or whatever. He's an actual person now. And the actor who plays Hershel is absolutely incredible, like really incredible, where I want him to be a part of future Walking Dead projects. Like, I don't want them to recast the part. It's the same thing as like Judith. Like Kaylee Fleming is perfect for the role of Judith. I don't want them recasting that part at all. I think it would be absolutely insane, unless they're going to jump forward like 20 years or something. Then I guess I get it at that point, but I think for all the current stories, definitely don't do that. I think it would be absolutely insane. But that's also a question that I do have, like, are we going to see Hershel in other projects after this? Like, it's kind of crazy, but like when you're looking at The Walking Dead and everything right now, if they were to do like a season 12 or something like that, they have so many amazing characters that can be on that show. Like, you don't have to bring back everyone from The Walking Dead, right? In like the final season, because maybe their stories just ended there. Like a character like Eugene, right? As much as it would be cool to see him, back in the story in some way, maybe his story just ends right there. Though I will say, based off of the comics and some of the, stories with the railroad and like, the communities to like the west and the east, like there's a whole storyline there that's set like 20, 25 years into the future that I would absolutely love to see. And there wasn't a lot that was fleshed out there because obviously it was like the final issue and Eugene is a big part of that storyline. So, I mean, if anything, I would like to see him come back, but you know what I mean, right? Like it's just having, some characters come back. You don't have to have everyone come back, and you're going to have all these newer characters here. And so I think it would be really great to see. I think that a Walking Dead season 12 in some way, if they're going to do something like that, it would work really well. Now, I know there's a lot of issues with like having Rick and Michonne come back and be a part of a show for like multiple seasons. Like, is that ever going to happen? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't think it's impossible. I think if it was like 8 or 10 episodes or something like that, it would definitely work. But I also see it being one of those things where, I think it might have to be like maybe a couple of seasons and then that's it, right? Like maybe they have to know for sure that it's only going to be, say, 4 seasons like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon and nothing more than that, right? Because like maybe it's something that they don't want to, join or be a part of. And then all of a sudden, like they get to season 4, then AMC wants to keep going. And then Andrew Lincoln's like, well, I only wanted to do 3 or 4 seasons, right? And then you end up in a very similar situation to The Walking Dead where he left in season 9. So, but I am really excited about all of it. And I will say too, that is the one thing that I'm really interested in with Dead City. Like, is Dead City going to be the show that will transform into something entirely different for season 3 where other characters from The Walking Dead or, things like that actually become a part of that show? Because I'm really wondering what they're planning to do in the future here. Like, Dead City season 3 wasn't announced as the final season. Now, they could announce it at some point in the future, but like, what if their plan is to get Daryl and Rick to reunite, get Daryl back to America? So that's why they're ending the show, really. And then once that happens, Dead City is going to continue on for, a season 4 or whatever. And like, because that show is coming out I don't know about season 3. We'll see. I know that 2026 seems to be when it will come out, but like, I don't know, maybe it comes out every 2 years. Like, I think it would be really unfortunate if that did happen, but that could happen. So if there is a season 4, maybe that's 2029. Like, I don't know how AMC is viewing this, but The Walking Dead is like their biggest show. And like, if they had no Walking Dead content anymore, like at all, it would be insane, right? So obviously they're going to continue this. It's just, you're trying to picture how a lot of this is going to play out here. And that's why, to me, I'm wondering if Dead City is going to continue on for a little bit here. And you just bring other characters from The Walking Dead and you do stuff like that, right? I think that could really work so well for that show. And then you have the other show with Rick and Daryl reuniting and just whatever's going to happen there, right? So anyways, I'm leaving it here, though. So definitely post your thoughts down below on what you think this meeting could actually be like. Like, do you think we will actually see this one day, or do you think it's just never going to happen? I think it will happen. I think it would be crazy if Rick just never met Hershel. Like, I don't see that not happening. Like, Rick and Maggie are likely going to have a scene together at some point. Hershel's going to be there. Like, maybe the scene is just something so horrible or terrible where it's like, wow, that was definitely very underwhelming, right? But I think it is going to happen for sure. It's just, when is it going to happen? And I think it would have to happen after Dead City, in my opinion, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, I'm leaving it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.